Hi everybody, it's Cheryl with Silver Sage Studio, and today I'm going to be showing you a very versatile project that can be turned into any kind of card. This is a galaxy background that I'm using to make a bunch of teacher cards. Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up in May, and I want to have some cards ready. So I'm starting off there with a little bit of dance, which I always do. I think I was listening to some Sia on this particular day. And I've got my Dr. P.H. Martin's acrylic inks that I'm going to use for this particular background. I'm starting off by wetting the watercolor paper that I have taped down. I'm using this nice thick watercolor brush, which holds a lot of water, so it makes it really fast to get water on the paper. Once it's on there, I'm going to use the silver ink first and put that down. It says it's silver, that's the name of the color, but it's really more of kind of glittery pearlescent color. And I wanted this because, it's a galaxy, so there should be a little bit of shine going on there. And then I'm going to place this turquoise color down. I don't wait a whole lot before I start moving that color around, because if you do, it really sinks into the paper and creates these circles. And I'm going to drop some pink on there. I'm mostly just moving that into that turquoise to make it a purple color. And here and there, I'm picking up some excess color. It's a little darker than I had intended. And now I'm putting on a darker blue. I think it's a navy color, just around the edges to frame that and make it look more sky-like. Now I know gold is maybe a little untraditional for a galaxy card, but I thought it'd be nice to have some of that gold in there because I'm going to use a gold die cut over the top, and I thought it would bring in some shine and also allow that that color to pull together. So I'm going to be creating the center part of this galaxy by dropping in some high flow acrylic white paint. This acrylic paint is going to push those inks back quite a bit, as you've seen, excuse me. And I'm just going to move it around a little bit, give it some variation, and then I'm going to hit it with the heat gun, pick up some of that excess water that's floating around here and there. Once I'm done drying it, the fun part begins. This is my favorite part. I'm taking a toothbrush and some of that high flow acrylic paint and splattering some stars on there. It makes a very fine spray when you use that combination of that high flow paint and the toothbrush. So to add a little bit more variation, I am using a brush to get some bigger splatters on there, and you'll see in a minute I'll come back with a pen and add a couple twinkling stars and so on and so forth. I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about who I'm making this card for. It is my daughter's math teacher, and she's a rock star. I'm a teacher too, and she is, even though quite younger than me and much newer to teaching than I am, she is somebody that I find to be an inspiration. She has taught me so much about using creative interactive elements in the classroom, and I really admire her, and so I really wanted this card to be special for her. And so now I am adding some twinkling stars. I used an acrylic paint pen to make some larger planet dots there, and adding a few more dots with that gel pen where I feel like it needs a little bit more something going on. And I feel like it's done. So now I'm going to heat emboss Miss You, and then over the top of that I'm using a die cut that is made from Tim Holtz metallic paper. All the supplies, as always, will be linked down below in the notes. And I'm heat embossing this in gold. I'm going to skip past the heat embossing part here in a second, but I did want to leave in this next step. I'm doing 3 cards in today's video, so I was trying to kind of cut this down a little bit and edit out some things that, I didn't think were necessary for you to see, but I had to leave this in here because, sometimes the struggle is real. And I'm telling you, I had so many problems with this. I don't know why I decided to do this. I decided to use my Yoo-Hoo glue stick instead of liquid glue on the back of this die cut. And I really regretted that. I really do love this glue stick. I use it for a lot of collage, but it did not work on this at all. So two things happened. Number one, it really kind of scrunched up my die here, as you can see. And then the other thing that happened is, watercolor paper it needs a good adhesive that is liquid because it's textured and it really absorbs anything liquid quickly. So this just wasn't enough. So I had to go back in once I got this down with a liquid glue. This is Tombow Mono Multi Glue, and tuck it in under some spots that just weren't laying down. So, I know it wasn't necessary for y'all to see that, but I do think it can help to know that sometimes we all struggle with what's going on with our projects. Now I've got two more cards coming up, and I promise I'm just going to get to the nuts and bolts of what I'm doing. But this is the final product of this card. I framed it on a piece of that metallic paper, and I liked it. So here's another background that I did. And on this one, I used black soot distress ink around the edges just to make it look a little more night sky-y. And I've decided to not use the golds on this one. I'm using some white embossing powder and a stamp set from Paper Tray Ink that I'll link below that is going to say "You're a superstar." And I decided once I was done embossing that it needed a little bit more. So I'm going to heat emboss a larger star from the same stamp set from Paper Tray Ink, and just to give it a little bit more something. The final card is going to be framed onto some black Hero Arts cardstock that I really love. It's my favorite black cardstock of all time. And here is the final card. One more coming up. Don't leave just yet. And for the final card, I am stamping this sentiment from Simon Says Stamp Tiny Words Sentiment Stamp Set. A lot of stamps in there, that says "Forever Grateful." And that teacher die, by the way, that I'm going to be placing onto this card, that is from Paper Tray Ink. It is still available, but there are other ones that you can find on Simon Says Stamp from other brands. I really like this one. And I'm just going to put that "Forever Grateful" underneath that die and frame this onto some black cardstock. And in the end, this one ended up being my favorite card. I'm not really sure if it's because I like the combo of the black against the galaxy or if it's just the colors, what it is. But anyways, this was my favorite card out of all of them. I hope that you all remember to say thank you to the teachers in your lives who are working really hard right now during this whole quarantining stage of our lives and are doing their best to help everybody stay on track. So here is that final card. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please consider subscribing and hitting like.